That was Bach's C minor prelude.
Fugue, actually. It was the fugue.
That was Bach's Fugue in C minor.
Notably. But just the end of it.
Just the end. And I'm confused because we said it was in C minor. He said it was in C minor, but he finished with a C major chord.
Well, it was still C minor.
That's a whole different key signature and everything. I mean, you got 3 flats in C minor. You got no sharps or flats in C major. Did we modulate?
No.
At the end?
No, certainly not.
No? How then shall we explain that? There's another mystery I would like to ask. If I'm in a minor mode, okay, C minor, it says I have 3 flats. 3 flats. And yet, I play a B natural. A B natural. I always have to add that as an accidental. Am I actually in minor? Or am I in some sort of mode in which I need to have an E flat and an A flat, but a B natural?
You're still in minor, because if you'll remember back to your music theory days, you'll remember harmonic minor, in which you have that raised 7th scale degree used almost all the time.
But of course, raised 7th scale degree used almost all the time in harmonic minor. So therefore, we didn't actually leave C major, though when we have a 5 chord, the key signature would tell me that 5 chord should be a minor chord. When I have a 7 chord, the key signature tells me that should be a major chord, B flat major. But in reality, it's a diminished chord, and the 5 chord is a major chord, because I put in a B natural every time. That's not really a change of keys.
However, it's more of a mixture of modes.
Modal mixture, or what we sometimes call modal exchange, or what we sometimes call borrowing from the major in this case. I didn't actually leave C minor. I just borrowed the E natural from C major. I borrowed the B natural from C major. Just borrowed.
And you can do the same thing from major to minor. If you're in a major key, perhaps you want to borrow that B flat from C minor, such as in this song.
Ah, yes. I bet you haven't heard that song done on a harpsichord before.
That's because that just wasn't a very practical use of the 7th scale degree in those days of the harpsichord.
And so what we have right there is we are in the key of C, but when I play a 5 chord or a 7 chord, I have a B flat on a regular basis. It's what we would call playing in Mixolydian mode, or that we simply borrowed the flat from the minor. So we didn't leave the key of C, we just had a B flat a lot of times, and it's okay.
Using a little bit of modal exchange there, I see.
I believe that's what we were doing, is using a bit of modal exchange.
Modal exchange.
Well, there is another place that we fairly often borrow from another key, and that is when I'm in a major mode, and I play a 4 chord, a subdominant chord, and I make it minor. See, I'm finishing on C, but when I play a 4 chord, the F chord, I used an A flat. A flat, I just have to add the flat. I didn't change because I'm still in C major. I didn't change to any other key, but I borrowed. I didn't steal it. I just want you to know. Didn't steal it, but I borrowed a minor
Just
4 chord.
For occasional use, really.
Yeah. It's not an addiction or anything. It's just, you know, every once in a while, I just need a minor 4 to give it that kind of sad effect.
It would be like ragu with the chunky tomato paste, because otherwise it just doesn't have that kick.
Where are you reading that?
I just came up with it.
That was brilliant. Really, the ragu, chunky. And so we fairly often have chords that come up while we're playing that have an accidental in them. And we say to ourselves, was that a modulation? Am I in a different key? Sometimes the answer is, no, not really. We just have a minor form of the major chord or a major form of the minor chord that shows up when we would have expected it otherwise. So this we call modal exchange, and we don't have to do anything. We're going along in the key of C. We have a Roman numeral 1. It's a big 1. And we have a 4. And we have a 1. And the 4 was capital letter 4. And then we just make it lowercase. When it's minor, we simply use the 4. And we didn't have to say, well, that was actually, it was a something of the key of something or whatever. It was simply...
Because it's borrowed from the same key in the sense that it's from C, it's just a different mode, and that is minor.
Now, you can't do that if the root of the chord has been changed. For example, you can't say, I'm in the key of C, and when I have an E-flat chord, that's a 3. You can't put capital 3 there, major 3, and say that's borrowed from the minor, because the root itself has been changed. It's just if the form of a chord that the root is actually in the key signature, then you can do that sort of thing. It's a little confusing, but this helps to explain some of those color chords that confuse and perplex us in life. They are not so confusing and perplexing. They are merely borrowed from the minor, or perhaps the major, thus requiring an accidental that is easily explained.
Touche.
Oh, that's touchy. Touchy about these things.
Touche.
Touchy.
Touche.